Don't do it, Brooklyn. Don't do it, Nicola Peltz. They're about to make exactly the same mistake that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did. Forever smash their reputation by choosing to publicly smash their family. And guess who they're listening to for advice? The Duke and Duchess of Delusion. All of this revealed by Lady Colin Campbell, who's going to be here in just 1 minute. But first, let me take you through her revelations. I am hearing very disturbing reports that Meghan and Harry are encouraging Brooklyn and Nicola Peltz-Beckhams to do a Judas on his parents, in emulation of the Sussexes' unedifying example. No matter how appalling parents are, and not for a moment am I saying either Harry and Meghan's parents or Brooklyn and Nicola Beckham's are, it does not behove a child to ignore the fifth commandment and dishonour them. Meghan Markle has turned on her father, the father whose praises she sang until she met Harry, and it suited her to turn him off into the living embodiment of King Lear. Harry has followed suit, giving us insight into how a disordered and petulant, drug-addled ingrate performs as he unwarrantedly and unfairly demonizes his father when previously, i.e. pre-Meghan, he also sang his praises. Hopefully, the much-trumpeted Peltz tradition of respect for family values will hold fast, and the young couple will avoid mimicking the repellent example of the two middle-aged vultures who would doubtless enjoy having another high-profile couple take the heat off them, having been encouraged by them to confirm to the world what dreadful human beings they are. Youngsters need to remember, misery loves company. And fame whores love nothing better than having someone to deflect from how truly awful they are. And it's a delight to have Lady Colin Campbell back on Outspoken today. Lady C, I always knew Brooklyn Beckham wasn't the sharpest tool in this shed. But what's Nicola Peltz thinking here? Like, how on earth can you look at the complete collapse of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's career since the Oprah Winfrey interview, since they publicly turned on their family, and think, I know, I'm going to follow their lead? What's going on here?
Meghan Markle, fresh off the backlash from her brand failures, is now being linked to an alleged TV tell-all collaboration with Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham. The angle? Behind-the-scenes drama, exclusive confessions, and yes, yet another excuse to stay in the headlines.
Well, of course, Dan, we need to remember that Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham have so far actually not followed Harry and Meghan's lead. They have all got together and they ran into each other at a dinner party, and they have subsequently got together, evidently. And Meghan and Harry have made it, well, they've leaked that they are prepared to give them guidance, but to give Nicola Peltz her due, so far they have actually not leaked anything. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. So far, they are not on the record officially as having trashed the Beckhams. Now, of course, as you and I both know, there is briefing behind the scenes from both parties and from their friends and supporters. And doubtless Meghan will be trying to pump them up so that they will make the mistake that she made and that she encouraged Harry to make, which is to be, you know, wear the Judas mantle and betray your family. And she's betrayed both. The Beckhams haven't done that, because I am told that Nicola Peltz is actually very ambitious, very hungry to be famous, very hungry to be an A-list actress, which she is not. She's had one or two minor roles, but that the Peltzes are very family orientated, And there seems to be what I suppose you'd call a power struggle between the more famous and more prestigious Beckhams and the richer and more powerful Peltzes as to which family is going to predominate. Now, there's nothing that unusual about that. And also, the dynamic is, as any mother of sons knows, there's actually a very famous saying: you have a son, a daughter you have for life, a son you have until he finds a wife. So I think that's been going on. And Victoria Beckham is very family orientated, as is David. But David Beckham did ice his father for some time. So Brooklyn Beckham has seen what David did to his father. But they kissed and made up. And I mean, I'd met his father. He's an absolutely lovely man. But I think Brooklyn Beckham is so far not making the mistake of going public. And hopefully neither he nor Nicola Peltz will go public. And if they don't go public, this stands a chance of ultimately settling down in such a way that there will be superficial cordiality, as there often is in families, because not everybody loves everybody else at the same time, and sometimes people loathe each other. But when they're in public, or when there's family events, they all get together, and then as soon as the event is over, they're busy lacerating each other with their tongues. So I think that up to now, Nicola Peltz has not fallen in the trap that Meghan will doubtless like her to fall into, because Meghan may not realize that she made a huge mistake in trashing publicly her father and her husband's family. But everybody now can see that it's so obvious that as I said all along, I've said it in my books as well. So I've been saying it from 2020. Meghan's big mistake was to traduce her father in the eyes of the world. And this was before she then traduced the royal family. So
Totally. Well, it was interesting, Lady C, because Samantha Markle, Meghan's sister, actually replied to your tweet, and she obviously knows more than most what happens when your family is publicly trashed. And she wrote they can diffuse the public criticism and point fingers at the Beckhams then and say, look, they did it too. They just want to normalize this behavior. Hopefully the Beckhams are not stupid enough to fall for it. Maybe they need to get the memo. What a fine example of misery loves company. Of course, they don't want to be alone in that deviant boat. So Samantha, Lady C, is claiming that Harry and Meghan are almost looking for someone else to do what they did so that their publicity is not so bad off the back. I mean, number one, I don't think that's going to work. But do you think there's something in that?
But here's the part that shocked everyone. Critics aren't just skeptical. They're furious. One headline even went as far as calling her a middle-aged vulture for trying to sink her claws into a younger, trendier couple to stay culturally relevant. This isn't new. Meghan has always played the long game when it comes to public positioning. First it was Oprah, then the Obamas, then Gwyneth Paltrow. Now it's the Peltz-Beckhams. Why? Because this isn't about friendship. It's about brand alignment. Meghan's power is fading. Her deals are drying up. So what does she do? Attach herself to the next celebrity spotlight.
Oh, I think absolutely, without a doubt. They are hoping to have company join their miserable sofas. Yeah, without a doubt. And if they can get Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham to traduce his family publicly, she'll be able to swan around in her groups and maybe even in public saying, oh, well, you see, we're not alone, and this is the sort of thing that happens in high profile families, and to normalize the abnormal. But so far, Nicola Peltz hasn't fallen for it. And I know from people who know the Peltzes that they are very family orientated. And normally, if you are family orientated, even if you don't like your own family, you're not going to traduce them. And even if you don't like the family that one of your children is married into, you're not going to traduce them either, because it's just undignified. And it shows you can't be pro-family if you are trying to undermine the reputation of people you don't like within your family. So I actually have some hope that this situation will not end up the way Harry and Meghan have created with the Markles and the royal family. Because so far, I mean, let's be clear, so far, and I emphasize the word so far, neither Brooklyn nor Nicola Beckham have actually said a word publicly. And if they know what's good for them, they never will say a word publicly, because to do so will be to start their journey down the slippery slope, which Harry and Meghan have shown the way. And what the consequences are when you go down that slope, because you can't be a public figure and liked when everybody knows that you are a despicable human being. That's the mistake Meghan has made, you know, and she can spin anything and come up with pulling out perfectly washed carrots that have beautifully trimmed stalks. I just pull them out of my garden and my vegetable patch. I'm so authentic. I mean, people aren't dumb, and people just don't go, and that is the way to destroy yourself publicly. And she has shown everybody what the template is for destroying yourself publicly. Trash everybody else, and you end up being seen as the trash that you are.
Very, very true. And Lady C, what I think the concern is with Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz is they're just not really the most, how do I put it, engaging couple publicly. I think an interview would go very, very badly on camera, because this is what happened recently when they sat down with Glamour magazine. Eek. Oh, God. I think the more they probably keep their mouths shut in public, the better.
It's calculated. It's familiar. And frankly, it's starting to look desperate. This is where the criticism gets sharp. Calling someone a middle-aged vulture isn't just a random insult. It implies predatory behavior. That Meghan is circling young Hollywood, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to swoop in and use it for her next media play. Some are even accusing her of trying to exploit the Beckhams' own public tension with Harry and Meghan, especially after the royal wedding fallout. So now, Meghan is flipping the narrative and chasing new alliances. Hollywood insiders are divided. Some say Meghan is just playing the celebrity game, networking, collaborating, staying visible. But others are seeing red flags.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. A study in vacuity, you know.
Yes.
Well, everybody's always known he had no brains.
True.
And but she not only has clearly no brains, but she's also showing that she has rather too big an ego, and she needs elocution lessons. I mean, that voice really needs to be brought down a peg too, so that she has velvet instead of glass, scratching on the glass in her tone. But I mean, dumb. The both of them are dumb. And I mean, people need to understand that other people don't like you because you have a monstrous ego. people like you because you are likable, or they admire you because you are admirable, or you have talent. And even if you are an appalling human being and you have talent, they will tolerate your character or personality defects, and to be able to derive the benefit of your talent. I will use, for instance, Richard Wagner as an example, the great German composer who was a rabid anti-Semite. But when the state of Israel wanted to ban his music, Daniel Barenboim, the great Jewish Israeli born in Argentina, conductor stroke pianist who was married to anyway, that I won't go into. The point I'm making is Daniel Barenboim said, absolutely not. We are not banning, there's no way we're banning Richard Wagner's music, because he had composed some of the most divine music on earth. And the fact that he was a rabid anti-Semite is one thing, but his music is another. And people need to understand, if they want to be liked, and nowadays most public figures want to be liked, they need to understand, if they're going to be liked, they have to be likable. Nobody likes them because they have massive egos. This is a mistake that Meghan has made, and this seems to be a mistake that Nicola Peltz is making, and Brooklyn Beckham is making another mistake, and a totally different mistake, which is that he, having been brought up in a famous and very now rich family, he is a member of the elite, and he doesn't understand that when you are a member of the elite and you are brought up with privileges, they are not entitlements. And just because you are the son of a famous footballer and a really rather bad singer who is not a particularly good designer, but is very stylish and has made herself into an acceptable and admirable public figure, that doesn't mean that you are deserving of recognition. So he has done cookery, he's done a whole load of stuff, each of which was meant to make him into the star that he clearly feels he should be, and that he should have public acknowledgement for his specialness. Well, so far he's shown he's not at all special, except in the fact that he was born to famous parents and now he's married into a billionaire family. So they need to really be careful of the games they play and how much they expose themselves. And that's one of the virtues of the royal family, not giving interviews and keeping themselves to themselves, except in very limited circumstances and on very limited subjects. If you do that, you do not reveal your failings, you do not reveal your inadequacies. It is better to be thought a fool than open up your mouth and remove all doubt. And regrettably, Brooklyn Better does keep on opening up his mouth and showing that he's a talentless fool. Sorry, but he's evidently a nice fool. And he's obviously a very devoted fool. And he's obviously completely in her thrall. And that in itself is very unattractive to many women. I mean, women, at least in my generation, women wanted men. They didn't want pussies. They wanted men. And I mean, who wants a doormat that, it's...
Is this another Oprah-style exploitation moment in the making? And let's not forget, Brooklyn and Nicola are still trying to build their own public image. The last thing they need is to be caught in a Sussex-style drama spiral. But if Meghan is steering the production ship, that's a storm waiting to happen. The backlash is fierce. Twitter threads, YouTube breakdowns, Former fans speaking out. The public sees this for what it likely is. A move born out of irrelevance. Meghan's brand is flailing. Her podcast is dead. Her business flopped. So what's left? A media Hail Mary. But instead of admiration, people are asking, why not build your own brand? Why piggyback off others? Why does every move scream self-serving?
Totally. Well, Lady C, do you know when I realised he is a little pussy? And when I realised it was when, and I don't give a damn if the woke mob think that I'm wrong for saying this, I thought he is such a little pussy. He took her name. Do you know that? So he's now Brooklyn Peltz-Beckham. I just thought, you're totally controlled. You're captured. You're cucked by this woman.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I personally think that if a child of mine did something like that, I would be spitting bricks. But I do know, Dan, that some of the young people think it's okay to do something like that. And so I would not, but what I object to even more, although that is indicative of his thinking and his posture, let's put it that way. But I think when he says, oh, I'll be your devoted slave. Oh, please step all over me. You know, I'm here to adore you. Oh, I'm here to support you all the time. Excuse me. Which man or indeed woman supports somebody all the time? No matter how much you love someone, if you have any integrity, when they're wrong, and when they're right, they're right. And that is what makes for proper, full partnerships. I just don't get the whole business of, because somebody's a woman, she's supposed to have her foot on a man's head at all times. I mean, whatever happened to men and being desirable as men? I mean, why do they have to be pussies? I'm sorry, I think it's sick, quite frankly.
Look, Meghan Markle has every right to work in media to tell stories to build her career. But when every headline reads like a grasp for attention, it's hard to ignore the pattern. And this latest move? It's not innovation, it's imitation. And if even Hollywood's whispering vulture, then the brand damage may already be done.